Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today, and we're going to be talking about another NBA trade deadline rumor and trade idea, as we will be talking about the Phoenix Suns. A lot of people are talking about the Phoenix Suns and what they should be doing with, sitting at the 11 or 12 seed, I think 12 seed right now. Sitting at the 12 seed right now and struggling without Devin Booker, frustrations with DeAndre Ayton. And a lot of people are just talking about what I've heard a lot of Suns fans say, oh, we need to trade for Kyle Kuzma. We need to get rid of Aiden. Obviously, every Sun wants to get rid of Jay Crowder. I think everybody in this NBA fan wants the Suns to get rid of Jay Crowder. I'm not saying the Suns are what they're doing to him is bad. I'm not saying they're in the wrong, but I think everybody wants to see Jay Crowder playing basketball. He's a good player, and Obviously, there are some things that have happened there between the two sides, and I don't think anybody needs to get in the middle of that right now. But in that case, I think that a trade needs to happen soon because I think everybody wants to see Jay Crowder play basketball. He's too good of a player to be sitting at home right now. Yes, I know he's an aging veteran, but he's a good shooter. He's a good defensive player, and he deserves to be on a contender. And that's not going to be with the Suns. I don't know if I had to, get to an explanation. I think the rising star, or I'm not going to say rising star, but I think the rising emergence of Cam Johnson in these last year and two, and I think they've kind of showed that Cam Johnson will be their starter. And I'm not saying that Jay Crowder is not okay with coming off the bench, but he was the guy in Phoenix that was kind of starting, and I think that they just agreed best to part ways, and eventually they'll find a trade. But that's enough of Jay Crowder, because, not going to be the first time we talk about him in this video, because he actually has something to do with this trade idea. I actually forgot about that. But in this trade idea, it's kind of a crazy trade idea, and it has to do with Fred VanVleet. I think he's only a one-time All-Star for the Raptors. Just coming off a near 40-point performance. I think he had, was it 39 or 38 against the Bucks on Tuesday. He's playing great basketball, averaging about, 23, 25 points per game, something like that. I don't know what the point is of trading for Fred VanVleet. And I just don't see he's a free agent. That's the thing for me, is that he's a free agent. And it's already reported that the Suns have interest in signing Fred VanVleet in the offseason. And I just don't see what the point is of, giving up multiple first-round picks and two players that I will go over about when I get to the trade, the exact trade, just for a player that you can land a free agency. It just doesn't make sense to me. I sort of get the point of it, though, because you're trying to get a player in Fred VanVleet, because if you got Fred VanVleet, you match him up with Chris Paul and Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges and their crew and Monty Williams and the head coach, and it gives you a better chance in the West. But right now you're at the 12th seed. I mean, what can you do better? You can get to the 7th seed, maybe. I mean, obviously, if they fight hard enough, they can get to probably the 6th seed, 5th seed. That's the lowest seed I can see them getting to, or the highest seed I could see them getting to, right? But I doubt it. So, but yeah, I just don't see the point of trading for someone that could be one of the number one places he wants to go in free agency. Obviously, there are going to be other teams that are interested. I've seen that the Magic are very interested in VanVleet. I think the Pelicans might be a team that could be interested in VanVleet, possibly. I think that there's going to be a lot of teams that are interested in VanVleet. Pelicans, that could be a scary team for VanVleet to go sign with. But I just don't see the point of trading for a guy when you have to give up a lot, and then he could leave you in the offseason. So why not just take a shot to sign him in the offseason? But I do get the point of trying to contend, because if you can make a run after this trade and you get in the playoffs or the play-in, you could be a scary team with D-Book healthy, Chris Paul playing good, decent basketball, and VanVleet in their other small good pieces that they have. And the other player that I have them receiving in this trade, they could be a good team. So, yeah, it's not a bad idea, but yeah, we'll have to see. So, all right, let's go over it. Now, this trade might seem pretty crazy, but But the Raptors, it's looking like they're going in tanking mode, and I think that everybody's starting, and I'm really starting to think this, that the Raptors, they're trying to tank for Victor Wembanyama. I know the Raptors have been playing better basketball recently, but when I think when it comes to the trade deadline, I think the Raptors are just going to get rid of everybody. I see them getting rid of Anunoby. I think he's going to the Grizzlies. I think you can get at least 2 first-round picks for that. So you get 2 firsts for Anunoby, and like 2 I think it was Zaire Williams, Danny Green, and David Roddy. Was it his name? David Roddy, yeah. That I had for Anunoby, so you get 2 firsts and 3 players. But in this trade, the Raptors would receive 2 players and 2 picks, and the Suns would receive 2. So the Raptors would receive a center that they are actually very interested in, and which I think is why they would very well consider doing this trade, is DeAndre Ayton. The Raptors receive DeAndre Ayton, and get the center that they want desperately. And the cool thing about this is you're not really tanking for long. You're getting rid of everybody, getting some players, some nice, decent players, getting a shit ton of first-round picks. Like I said, you're getting DeAndre Ayton. It's not like you're trading Scotty Barnes. You're probably going to trade Gary Trent Jr. too. The only players you're not trading is Scotty Barnes, and then you're receiving DeAndre Ayton back. Then let's just say you get Victor Wembanyama. You have Victor, you have Scotty, you have Ayton, some other younger pieces that they have, and then all the first-round picks they'd have. So it would take them a couple years, but eventually they would be a really good team, which I hope the Raptors do not get Victor Wembanyama, because I want my Rockets to. But I think if you tank, you get rid of everybody. If you get rid of Anunoby, you get rid of Gary Trent Jr., you get rid of Vanvleet, I would say you get rid of everybody besides the Siakam. So you keep Siakam, you keep Barnes, and then you receive Ayton, and then you have Victor Wembanyama, which sounds crazy because, Scotty can play the 2. Yeah, Scotty can play the 2, and then who would play the 3? Scotty would play the 2, and the 3 would be, I guess, would Siakam play the 3? I don't know. Would Siakam? No. Siakam? Yeah, no. I think Wembanyama would surprisingly at 7'2", or whatever he is, 7'1", 7'1", because he can shoot. I think he would play the 3, and then Siakam would play the 4, and then DeAndre Ayton would play the 5, and then you have a first-round pick from the Suns, because I have them receiving a 2023 first-round pick, so then you can draft a point guard with that pick, which is going to be around the 20s area. And then you have pieces like Zaire Williams, and David Roddy, and some other guys that I've had. That Zaire Williams, that'd be coming in from the Anunoby trade. So you'd be a nice young team. Could make the playoffs if you have Wembanyama, and you have Ayton, and you have Siakam, and you have Barnes. Maybe. That's just a maybe. So you receive Ayton. You also receive Jay Crowder, speaking of, because Jay Crowder, we were just talking about him earlier in the video. So you receive Jay Crowder, which I don't see them keeping. I would see them buying him out, probably. I don't think you want adding in a veteran if you're trying to get the first overall pick. So you buy out Jay Crowder, though. You receive a 2023 first-round pick, which I just talked about, and a 2024 first-round pick. And then in return, the Suns get Fred VanVleet and power forward Chris Boucher. Now, for the Suns, I like this, but I don't at the same time. Because like I said, you're getting a guy who's going to be a free agent, but you're also receiving Chris Boucher. So, but also would have them receiving a second-round pick, too. I don't know what year, but I think you have to throw in a second-round pick just of the guarantee of possibly the Suns losing out on VanVleet if he goes somewhere else. So they receive Boucher, VanVleet, and a second-round pick, whatever year. Maybe 2025 or 2024, something like that. But the weird thing for the Suns is not only him being a free agent, but you're kind of, neutraling into a small ball. Everybody's switching over to a position that they haven't really played. Now, Chris Paul stays at the point guard, right? But Fred VanVleet moves to the shooting guard, which is something he's played before, but he's been playing point guard for a little bit for the Raptors. And then Devin Booker goes to small forward. He hasn't done that a lot in his career. Bridges goes to the power forward. I know he's done that in his career, but Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder have always been next to him the last couple years, so they've been more the power forward. And then Chris Boucher, who's been a power forward, is a center. So it's like everybody's neutraling over. Vanvleet, who was a point guard, goes to shooting guard. Booker, who was a shooting guard, goes to small forward. And Bridges, who was a small forward, goes to power forward. And then Boucher, who was a power forward, goes to center. I know it's not really small ball because you have Boucher, who's like 6'11 or 6'10, and you have Bridges, who's like 6'9", 6'8", something like that. But it kind of is like small ball, I guess, because you really don't have a real center. Boucher, I know he's 6'10", 6'11", whatever he is, but he's been playing power forward, but whatever. And then off the bench, you have Cam Johnson. You have Cam Johnson off the bench. You have other guys, Shamit, Damian Lee. Other guys consist of Jack Landale. And it could be nice for the Suns. It could make it in as the 7 seed and play whoever's there. If I'm the Suns, I'm trying to get that 6 seed, though, because then I play the Pelicans. And if I'm the Suns, I'm going to beat the Pelicans with that team. So then I match up against the Nuggets, and I got a chance. So the Suns' best way, in my opinion, the Suns' best way of trying to, make a playoff run is making it in the 6 seed, and then you possibly match up against the Pelicans. Suns, with this trade, adding in Vanvleet and Boucher, healthy Chris Paul, healthy Booker, they beat the Pelicans every day. And then you match up against whoever's at the 2 seed, probably the Nuggets or the Grizzlies. Probably would not be able to beat them, but it would be interesting. So I think that with this Suns team, if you get in the 6 seed, you're at least going in the second round. But I doubt that this trade will happen. I see the Suns just going after Vanvleet when he becomes a free agent. But yeah, who knows, man? It should be really interesting to see what happens. There's so many things that I feel like, there's a lot of trades that everybody thinks players are going to get traded, but then they won't be ended up being traded. I think a lot of guys will be traded, like John Collins and other guys that probably will be traded. But guys, some of the guys from the Raptors, they just don't, like, I think the Raptors will either trade I think the Raptors are going to trade 2 of 3 guys. So you got VanVleet, you got Gary Trent Jr., and you got OG Anunoby. I think they're going to trade 2 of the 3. I think they're going to trade OG Anunoby, and they're going to trade Gary Trent, and I think they're going to keep VanVleet and just see if what happens with him going to free agency. But I don't know. Maybe they want to get rid of him and not lose him for nothing. Who knows? This Raptors situation is very hard to figure out, and it's going to be very interesting going to the deadline. You guys let me know what your thoughts are, and peace out. Let me know your thoughts.